What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Join us now as we look at the 11th September edition of SmackDown Super Show, as well as the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including former WWE superstar Al Snow saves a child's life, John Cena returned last night, WWE facing major backlash on social media, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. As always with weekly shows, we don't recap the matches, but just provide you with the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. As always, we start off with the good as number 1, Brock Lesnar returns. Former WWE Champion Brock Lesnar finally returned to weekly WWE programming last night on SmackDown. Lesnar would confront the Bloodline, and it looked like Lesnar was about to execute an F5 on his former advocate Paul Heyman before Reigns would make the save. Lesnar managed to recover and managed to catch Reigns in an F5 position before the Usos performed their trademark super kicks on the Beast. But Lesnar managed to bounce back and take both members of the Usos to Suplex City to close out this awesome segment. Now, the opening segment was truly awesome. Lesnar was super over with the fans, and the fans have clearly missed Lesnar taking superstars to Suplex City. It'll be interesting to see just when the WWE is planning on booking the Reigns vs Lesnar match, as there are rumors that the two may collide at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia next month, but these are nothing more than just rumors. Number 2, Seth Rollins vs Edge steals the show. Last night's SmackDown emanated from Madison Square Garden, and the fans in New York City got to witness a tremendous match. Pretty much match of the year candidate between Seth Rollins and Edge. The two had previously met at SummerSlam in a match which saw Edge come out victorious. However, this match exceeded their SummerSlam match, and some fans are calling it one of the best matches in SmackDown history. We gotta agree, it was damn good. The match was a near 30-minute wrestling clinic with near falls, references to Triple H and Beth Phoenix, as well as some scary looking spots which focused on Edge's neck. Rollins would get the win by executing a low blow followed by 3 super kicks, and then Rollins would finish Edge off with a devastating curb stomp. Following the match, Edge would be carried away in a stretcher, so it looks like the WWE will be running an injury angle to advance the acclaimed rivalry. Now, we can't wait for Edge and Rollins Part 3, as now the two are drawing in wins. The culmination of this feud has to end up in Hell in a Cell. It would just be the perfect end to what has been a fantastic feud. Who should be victorious? Well, it's early days, but I say Rollins should be victorious. Edge passing on the torch. Number 3, Sami Zayn is a heat magnet. SmackDown also featured a massive 10-person tag team featuring a number of top superstars. For the match, Sami would wear a New York Knicks jersey and also some I Love New York pajamas, before smartly introducing Atlanta Hawks player Trae Young. Now, due to Young playing for a rival team, he received huge heat from the live crowd. I swear down, more heat than Logan Paul. Young would also get involved in the match, and he would choke Rey Mysterio on the ring ropes before being ejected from ringside. And obviously, that got a massive pop from the MSG crowd. Young is a huge name, and his involvement in last night's SmackDown would naturally lead to much wider exposure for the WWE. And number 4, The Demon is back. Now, the main event of SmackDown featured a tag team title match between the Usos and the Street Profits. The match would end in a DQ after Roman Reigns would interfere on behalf of the reigning tag team championships, which was a bit of a poor finish. But following the match, Reigns would cut a promo to declare that he accepts Brock Lesnar's challenge for a match, and that he plans on smashing Finn Balor in their upcoming rematch at Extreme Rules. And suddenly the lights went down, and the Demon would make his first appearance on WWE television in over 2 years. The Demon would receive a huge pop, and he would stare down Reigns to close out a great edition of SmackDown. It's great to see the Demon back on WWE television, and it'll be interesting to see how WWE handles Reigns versus the Demon Finn Balor at Extreme Rules. Now, even though the Demon has been defeated in NXT by Samoa Joe, he's never lost on the main roster, but it looks like WWE have no plans to dethrone Roman Reigns anytime soon. How do you think WWE will book the match between Reigns and the Demon at Extreme Rules? Surely Brock Lesnar's got to interfere, right? But that was the good, but what about the bad? Number 1, no women's matches. Now, the solo women's segment on SmackDown featured a contract signing between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. The two would sign on the dotted line ahead of their anticipated match at Extreme Rules for the SmackDown Women's title. Now, although the segment was okay, fans questioned why this was the only women's segment on the show. According to Fightful, a tag team match was planned which would feature Carmella and Zelina Vega taking on Toni Storm and Carmella, but this would be cut at the last moment. Carmella and Morgan would address this on Twitter by simply tweeting out an ellipsis. it's clear that both superstars are unhappy with their match being cut. Another disappointment was Zelina Vega not getting the chance to wrestle at Madison Square Garden last night, especially nearing the anniversary of her father passing away in the 9/11 attacks. And we understand the gravity of the situation, and wrestling is wrestling. It doesn't mean that she had to have a match, but it would have been a nice tribute for her to her father. Zelina even tweeted that she was all ready to go, but they cut it at the last minute. Additionally, there was a planned segment between Happy Corbin and Kevin Owens planned for the show, but this was also cut for time. Now, there have been rumors that Rollins and Edge went over their allotted time for their match, and this is why they were forced to cut both the women's match as well as a segment between Corbin and Owens. And number 2, Bianca Belair's promo skills. Bianca Belair's weakness has always been her promo ability. Now, although her in-ring work was great and her charisma is off the charts, her promo work is something she's always struggled with. Now, the feud with Becky Lynch is really showing how much Bianca struggles in this department, and last night's contract signing was no exception. It's got to be really hard for Bianca to keep up with Becky in the promos, as Becky is one of the most gifted talkers in the history of women's wrestling. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about this show. This show truly delivered. There was just something about this show that gave it a very pay-per-view feel. The crowd was just fantastic throughout, and it probably helped with the segments. Now, Vince McMahon has always had a love for Madison Square Garden, so it was clear that Vince wanted to make sure that last night's show was the best it could possibly be. But why can't they just adopt the same for Raw? What did you guys think of SmackDown last night? Let us know in the comments down below. Now let's move on to the news. Now, first story is a big one, as Al Snow saved a child's life. Our first story today relates to former WWE Hardcore Champion Al Snow, who hit headlines yesterday for his heroic actions. In a report published by TMZ, it was revealed that Snow saved a young child's life who got caught in the ocean's riptide. Snow revealed, "I made it, thank God. I caught him just by the arm just as a wave started to pull him further out. If I hadn't grabbed him, I think he would have probably went out to sea." Amazingly, neither Snow nor the child was hurt in the incident. Praise had been offered to Snow for his heroic actions, and we would also like to celebrate the courage of the former WWE superstar. What an absolute hero. Next up, fans furious after the match was cancelled on SmackDown. As we mentioned in our recap of SmackDown, WWE failed to put a single women's match on the show last night, and as a result of this, hashtag Give SmackDown Women a Chance trended worldwide following the show. Fans are furious that not a single women's match could be featured on the show, in particular because the show took place in Madison Square Garden, and this would have been a huge opportunity for the women on the SmackDown roster. Will WWE respond? Who knows? Next up, John Cena returned last night. Although John Cena didn't appear on television last night, he did appear once the show had gone off the air. Cena would team up with Rey and Dominic Mysterio to take on the Bloodline, and Cena's team would be victorious to send the Madison Square Garden crowd home happy. Now, this was Cena's first match since SummerSlam, where he was defeated by Roman Reigns in the main event. Last night's appearance is expected to be Cena's last appearance in WWE for some time. Cena has a heavy workload with new projects, and unfortunately he simply doesn't have the time to commit to WWE. And finally, Fox offered to help WWE sign CM Punk. Now, our final story relates to a report that Fox offered WWE their assistance in signing CM Punk. Punk and Fox had a healthy relationship following his hiring to be part of WWE backstage back in 2019. Once it was reported that Punk was in serious talks with AEW, Fox reached out to WWE to offer their assistance in getting him signed onto the roster. Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer added that WWE didn't need Fox's help, as they simply didn't want Punk on their roster. Punk is currently enjoying a run in AEW, and according to Punk, he's extremely happy in the promotion. Who knows what would have happened if Punk was actually persuaded by Fox to sign back with the WWE? Nah, that will never happen, would it? But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, as well as a review of this week's SmackDown. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.